Okay, we already saw the disadvantage of having one big criteria area. So how do we have all these three answers visible at the same time? Well, the answer is simple. We can still have the database be the database. We can still say which field we want to count or sum or do the function to, but we need to set up individual criteria areas. And so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can set them up over here. Now when you set up a criteria area, you still have the name of the field at the top and then you put the criteria underneath. And then I always like to name those ranges so when it prompts me for the criteria, I can just keep typing. You can just select them while you're typing in your formula too, but I like to name ranges. So the first question is, how many paintings do we have valued at over 5,000? Well, how I would know if I wanted to count the object here is if it was a painting under category. So I'm going to copy and paste because I can get that criteria heading and the criteria all in one foul swoop. And now I'm going to select both of those cells together and I'm going to name the range painting and press enter. That makes it really easy. So now when I want a criteria for something to do with paintings, I've actually got it there. So let's do that with the decount again. Equals decount, lock it in, database, lock it in, comma, ready for the next argument. What field do I want to count? It doesn't really matter, I guess. It should only be this one or this one, but it looked like it was working with count too. Count A2. And then comma and last argument that it's looking for is my criteria. Do you remember that I named my criteria painting? So I could type in painting and lock it in, or I could select these two if they weren't a named range. Okay, and look at that. I've got 57 paintings, and we know that was the correct number. Let's set one up for items in the East Pavilion. So the location is East Pavilion, copy and paste. Okay, now I'm going to name this range. Remember, these two cells together are the criteria. So I'll name this EP for East Pavilion. I'm lazy, so I don't like to type too much if I don't have to. It's convenient for me that these were next to each other so I could copy them together. If they weren't, I'd copy location and then I'd copy East Pavilion and put them together. I highly recommend copying and pasting instead of trying to type it in because students and instructors too make typos and then they don't know why their formula is not working. Okay, so we're set up to do this one now. We're going to do a count again, so equals decount. And we are going to count anything that's in the East Pavilion. So database, comma, field. It doesn't matter really what field. Actually, I'll do appraised value again because technically it should be decount A if I'm going to do text. And then comma, and my criteria is EP. And so I will put that in and look at that. Beautiful. I have 90 items in the East Pavilion and notice that this is not being interrupted because it's using its own criteria. Okay, here's one. The value of the Ziski textiles, I don't even know how to say that name, textiles in excellent condition. Well, I've got a few different things that need to happen for criteria there. So I need category, and I'm just going to copy category. And I need textiles, and I'm going to copy that over. I'm going to put it to the right. And I also need the artist, and I'm going to copy that over. Okay, so now I've got 3 bits of criteria. Now I have to say what do I want the category, that's silly. Textile goes under category. And I need condition. And so I've got category, artist, and condition because it has to be the category of textile, the artist of Ziski, and it has to be in excellent condition. Okay, so the artist, I have to go over and copy that guy's name. The way I'm I'm doing this, by the way, is I am clicking on the cell, holding down my control key, and then do you see when I hover over the border, it brings up a little black plus sign? When I move something with my control key down, it's actually a copy. So when I drag it, it leaves the original there, but it moves it to a new place. Okay, and finally, the condition needs to be excellent. So I'm going to do I'm going to do a copy of excellent here. Okay, so the condition is excellent. The artist is Zishki, whatever his name is, and the category is textile. These cells all together are going to be my criteria, and so I'm going to name that range, and I'm just going to name it ZISCHKE. Oh, not that that's easy, but whatever. Okay, and now I'm ready and set up to create my database function. So I want a sum this time, so equals dsum and database, comma, what field do I want to sum? Appraised value, comma, my criteria is Z. I don't even have to type too much. I can just choose it here, tab to lock it in. So I've got my dsum database H3 Zishki, press enter, and look at that, $1,200. So by setting up individual or multiple criteria, you can have multiple questions being answered on the sheet at the same time. If you just use one big criteria area and then change it, the answers to your questions can change.